I'm honored to be here with Carlton Apollo from Waukegan West. Probably butchered that. Telco up in Washington. Carlton is a longtime industry leader, former president of Opasco, but also kind of a generation. He represents a generation of people who really moved the telephone industry into what it is today. And he's going to reflect a little bit on Babe Howard, a man he shares many common traits with and interests. And unfortunately, Mr. Howard just passed away. So Carlton, why don't you tell us a little bit about him?
Yeah, I met Babe probably in early '60s because he's been active in the telephone industry a long time. Well, Babe is a real character, little short guy, and he's got a nose like this because he fought. Well, he's a scrappy guy, and he got in a lot of fights. He didn't always win them, but anyhow, he came home and he started taking care of the telephone company, and without much technical knowledge, he had good common sense, and I think he knew how to handle his people and how to take care of the customers, and he was a typical redneck of that era, but he was sincere about things and honest, and he ran for school board and won many elections, a series of elections, because he took care of his constituency. And
Mr. Howard was there in just a few moments, and he and Wallace Kerwin climbed that pole in the heat of that summer, gave that young man artificial respiration best they could to try to revive him and get him down. But they brought that young man down that pole, Mr. Howard, on his shoulders, put him in his car, and of course took off to Memphis with him.
Well, I met him, got him telling these stories, and one of his favorite ones, he collected fainting goats. And you wonder what a fainting goat is. It's a high-strung animal that when a dog goes by and barks, the goats keel over, and so they have to build a fence inside the big fence. So they have these fainting goats in that little area. So that was one of his idiosyncrasies. The other thing was that he had a miniature jackass that I don't remember which sex it was, but anyhow, he needed an opposite gender, and so he arranged there was one available in Newark, New Jersey, but the Department of Agriculture has a rule that you can't move an animal from one area to another if there's more than, I think it was 25 degrees difference in temperature. So they had to wait until Millington, Tennessee and New Jersey were within this acceptable limits, and they finally arrived at that time, so they got ABC News to cover it, and it was quite a remarkable program because they interviewed him in Newark loading the animal on, and then at Memphis unloading it. And he also was interested in baseball, and he built a stadium. It's a semi-pro team that they had. He kind of sponsored that and built this stadium. And the other thing, he raises sorghum for molasses and sells molasses in these cans. So he had many other activities besides just the telephone business. But he was a great guy for the telephone industry. And when he go to meetings, he didn't spend much time in the meeting. He was out in the hallways talking to his friends, and that all paid him well because he was able to borrow some money to buy off a fellow that had purchased his company later on, and just because of the friendship that he made, and he's just a good guy all the way around. So.
Well, and that's, I think, you touched on it. That's what these events are really about, is people to people, and that's
right.
why Pasco is so important. So, Carlton, thank you for the insight on Babe.
You're certainly welcome.